My mom tried to force me to take a drug test for my brother, just so he could land a job. You're being selfish, your brother's future matters more than flipping burgers. I looked her dead in the eye and said, then he can fail on his own. 3 days later, I missed the flight, and she texted me, don't come home. Weeks passed. I lost my job, bombed a test, and slept on a friend's floor. But when my brother's job offer fell through, he called sobbing, you ruined my life. Please fix this. I'm a 17-year-old guy who works part-time flipping burgers, loves chemistry class, and just wants to get into a decent college. Unfortunately, I also have a family that treats me more like a spare part than a person. This isn't the first time I've taken a drug test for my brother. I hate saying that, but it's the truth. A couple years ago, my mom basically shoved me out the door with his ID and told me to do something useful for once. At the time, I didn't even fully grasp that it was fraud. It was just helping family, or so she said. We look alike in his license photo. Same eyes, similar jawline, unfortunately for me. And the people at those clinics are more worried about what's in your pockets than what's on your ID. It made me feel sick, but I did it, and I promised myself I wouldn't do it again. Fast forward to now. My brother, 22, is applying for another great job, whatever that means this time. And surprise, he asks me again. I told him no, point blank. I said, get clean if you want the job. He laughed like I just asked him to walk on water and said I was being a jerk. Next thing I know, mom is in my room, hands on her hips, giving me the "you're being selfish" speech she's practically copyrighted at this point. Let me be clear. I have nothing against weed. I don't smoke it, but I genuinely don't care if people do. What I do care about is that my brother can't stop long enough to piss clean for a job he supposedly really wants. What I really care about is being dragged into covering for him again, and getting guilt-tripped by my mom when I say no. Now she's telling me I have to fly out this Sunday to take the test for him. It's in another state. I'd miss school, including a major chemistry test on Monday. She said, just study on the plane. Like I can study while I'm freaking out and preparing to commit identity fraud? Here's the kicker. She's threatening to revoke my work permit if I don't go. I work part-time at a local burger place, and I actually like my job. It gives me a break from home, and I've been saving up to buy a used car. But to work as a minor, I need a signed permission slip from both my school counselor and a parent. My GPA also has to stay high. If either of those slips disappears, I'm screwed. And she knows it. She said out loud, that if I don't man up and go, she'll pull her signature, call my school, and tell them I'm overwhelmed and shouldn't be working. Your brother's future is more important than you flipping burgers, she said. I wish I was making that up. I'm torn between being scared and just plain tired. I'm tired of being the one who has to clean up his messes. I'm tired of doing something illegal for people who clearly don't care if I ruin my future. I want to be the kind of person who doesn't do shady stuff just because someone bigger and louder tells them to. But I'm also 17. I still live under her roof. She pays for my phone, my school lunches, the roof over my head. She's even thrown around the idea of kicking me out if I keep being difficult. I don't know if she'd actually do it, but with her, it's not off the table. I feel trapped. Either I give in and hate myself again, or I stand my ground and everything blows up. I know what I should do, but that doesn't make it any easier. Especially when my mom's standing at the edge of the cliff holding every safety net I have. If anyone has any advice, or even just a, yeah dude, this is messed up, I'd appreciate it. I'm not looking for sympathy. I just feel like I'm drowning quietly, and no one in real life seems to notice. Edit. Wow, I wasn't expecting this kind of response. Thank you for the messages and advice. Some of you gave me really solid suggestions about who to talk to at school or what options I might have. A couple people asked why I haven't gone to the police or child services. I don't know. I guess I didn't think anyone would believe me or that it would do anything. I'm not a foster kid or anything. I just feel stuck. But I'm listening now. I'm taking this seriously. Edit 2. My brother found out I'm still undecided, and now he's texting me nonstop, saying I'm ruining his shot at turning things around. I'm trying not to let it get to me, but it sucks. I feel like the whole world is on his side, and I'm just here. Update. So, yeah, I was supposed to get on a plane yesterday morning. I had a boarding pass with my brother's name on it. My mom printed it out herself and handed it to me in an envelope like it was some kind of favor. No, thank you. Just don't be late and don't screw this up. We didn't talk in the car. She dropped me off at the terminal, didn't even park, just slowed down enough for me to grab my backpack. Before I closed the door, she said, "Don't forget what's at stake." I stood there for a second like, what the hell am I doing? My hands were shaking so bad when I walked through security. I had to show ID, which was fake, obviously his. But I don't know, maybe they don't look closely, or maybe I got lucky. Either way, they let me through. I sat at the gate, trying to focus, trying to read this folded up page of chemistry notes I shoved in my pocket, like that would make me feel normal. It didn't. Then they started boarding, zone by zone. I kept watching the line shrink. People with kids, business guys with neck pillows, College girls in sweats and headphones, regular people going places, living their lives. Then it was final boarding call. I was the only one left in the waiting area. This airline worker, maybe late 30s, tired eyes, soft voice, walked up and asked, "You coming with us, hun?" I looked up at her and tried to say yes. I really did. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. She tilted her head and smiled a little, like she already knew. "All right," she said. "Stay safe." She turned and walked away, and that was it. The door closed. The plane left. I sat there and tried not to cry in front of a bunch of strangers. About an hour later, my brother started blowing up my phone. First, it was, "Yo, you landed yet?" Then, "Dude?" Then all caps. "Where the fuck are you?" I didn't answer. I just sat there, breathing through this weird mix of fear and relief, like I was standing on a cracked dam and I'd just taken a step back, but the water was still rising. Later that night, my mom started calling, and texting, and calling again. I ignored all of them. Eventually, she texted me, "Don't come home." No explanation, no, "We need to talk." Just a shutdown, like flipping a switch. I spent the night in the terminal, curled up in a plastic chair with my hoodie over my head and my backpack on my lap like a pillow. I didn't sleep much. I kept expecting security to tap me on the shoulder and ask if I was a runaway or something, but nobody did. I was invisible. This morning, I took a bus straight from the airport to school. My chem test was third period. I stared at the first page for like 5 minutes before I even picked up my pencil. It was like my brain had shut off. I knew the material, I swear I did, but I blanked. Just blanked. I think I got maybe a C, if I'm lucky. I'm back at a friend's house now. He said I can crash here for a bit. His parents are nice, but it's not the same. I haven't unpacked my stuff because I don't want to make it feel permanent. Like if I pretend this is temporary, it'll be temporary. But deep down, I don't know if I'm going back. My mom hasn't said anything since "Don't come home." My brother texted again this afternoon to call me a selfish prick. Said I ruined his life. I keep going back and forth in my head. If I'd just gotten on the damn plane, none of this would have happened. I'd still have a home. I'd still have my job. I wouldn't feel like this giant failure who burned down his whole life to prove a point. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I finally proved something to myself. Edit. I got a DM from someone saying I should go to the school counselor about my living situation. I think I will. I just don't want to get my friend's family in trouble somehow. They're just trying to help me out. If I say I'm not at home, I don't know what kind of chain reaction that starts. But I'll ask. Thank you. Edit 2. I didn't lose my mind until I got to my locker and saw my permission slip for work had been revoked. There was a note from my guidance counselor saying my work exemption was suspended and to come by her office. My mom really did it. She called and said I wasn't fit to work, so now that's gone too. I'm trying to hold it together. I really am. Update 2. I guess this is real now. I've been sleeping on an air mattress in my friend Jonah's room for the last few nights. His parents are kind about it. They don't ask too many questions, but I can feel the clock ticking. Every time I hear them whispering in the kitchen or talking softly in the hallway, my stomach knots up. I don't blame them. I'm not their problem. But I feel like one. I haven't heard a single word from my mom. Not a call, not a "come get your stuff," not even a "hope you're okay." I know she's still mad, but it's like I've been erased from her life completely. My brother, on the other hand, has no problem texting me random guilt bombs. Stuff like, "This was supposed to be my second chance," and "You always fuck everything up." He even sent me a photo of a job rejection email and said, "This is on you." I didn't respond. I've barely slept. School feels like a performance now. I show up, I nod through classes, I pretend everything's fine. Nobody really asks questions unless you look like you're about to collapse. I guess I'm not quite there yet. I talked to the school counselor like some people here suggested. I told her, kind of vaguely, that I wasn't staying at home right now, and that things with my mom had gotten complicated. She asked if I was safe, if I had a place to sleep. I said yes, which is technically true. She asked if I wanted to speak to CPS or get temporary housing through the school. I froze. I couldn't even imagine what that would look like. Some kind of group home? A foster placement? More questions? I told her no. She said her door's open if I change my mind. I nodded and walked out before I cried. I failed the chem test, by the way. C-. I wanted to ask for a retake, but it felt pathetic, like I had to admit I wasn't okay, and I'm not ready for that. My boss officially let me go yesterday. He sat me down in his office behind the counter and said he was sorry, said his hands were tied. He needed that signed permit on file or he could get fined. I asked if I could come back when I turned 18. He said absolutely. He even wrote me a reference letter. It's in my backpack next to a half-eaten granola bar and a charger that barely works. I miss that job. It was dumb and greasy and loud, but it was mine. I earned it. I clocked in and felt like I mattered for a few hours a day. Now I'm just a guest in someone else's house pretending not to be in the way. Thanksgiving is coming up. I keep seeing signs at the grocery store and on school bulletin boards. I used to hate Thanksgiving, honestly. It was always my mom yelling in the kitchen, my brother showing up high, and me doing dishes by myself. But this year, I kind of miss even that. I don't know what I'm doing yet. Jonah's family might invite me to their dinner, but I'm scared to say yes. Like if I sit down at that table, I'm admitting I really don't have one of my own anymore. There's this moment in the morning where I forget everything for about 20 seconds. I wake up, stretch, and I almost think I'm still in my own bed. Then I remember I'm on the floor of someone else's room with my entire life shoved into a duffel bag, and it just hits again. Edit. I had this weird thought today. I wonder if my mom would have treated me the same way if I were the one screwing up all the time. Like if I were the kid smoking weed and failing interviews, would she bend over backward to protect me too? I don't think so. I think she expects me to hold the line because I can. That sucks. Update 3. It's been almost 2 weeks since I left for the airport and never went back. That sentence feels insane to write. 2 weeks ago, I had a bed, I had a job, I had a place that was technically home, even if it didn't feel like one. Now I'm the quiet kid with the puffy eyes who tries not to use up the hot water. I've been trying to stay out of Jonah's parents' way. They've been decent, honestly better to me than my own family has been in years. But I can feel the weight of my presence here, the extra cereal disappearing, the laundry pile getting bigger, the tight smiles when I come downstairs too early. They haven't said anything, but I know the look. I've seen it before. At my aunt's house once when I stayed there for a few days after my mom slapped me during a fight and I ran out. That, how long is he staying? Look. So I've started spending more time out. I walk to the public library after school and sit there until it gets dark. Sometimes I pretend I'm studying. Other times I just sit by the window and watch cars go by. It's dumb, but it helps me breathe. The librarian gave me this look the other day. Like she wanted to ask if I was okay. I just smiled and said, midterms. She nodded. We both pretended it wasn't weird. Food's become a thing. I don't eat much at school because I don't want Jonah's parents thinking I'm blowing through their groceries. I've been skipping lunch more than I should. I use what little money I had saved from work to buy cheap snacks, peanut butter crackers, ramen, bananas when they're on sale. I do this thing where I pretend I'm intermittent fasting to trick myself into not feeling pathetic. I tried applying for a couple under-the-table gigs. Flyer distribution, yard cleanup, that kind of thing. Nothing solid yet. Most places don't want to hire a minor without paperwork, or they look at me and assume I'm trouble. I don't blame them. Jonah's been cool about all of it, but I can tell he's uncomfortable sometimes. The other night he made a joke about me being the 6th family member, and his mom shot him a look so fast I thought her neck would snap. I laughed anyway. It felt easier than not. We don't talk much about what happened with my mom. He asked once, "Do you think she'll come around?" I shrugged and said, I didn't care. That was a lie. Every single day, some part of me checks my phone and wonders if she'll finally text. Just one message. Come home. I'm sorry. Let's talk. But there's nothing. Just radio silence. I went back to the burger place, just to walk past. I don't know why. It was raining, and I stood across the street like a creep watching my old shift manager unload the soda crates into the fridge. I almost went in, almost asked if I could wipe tables or refill ketchup bottles for tips, anything. But then I remembered I'm the kid without a signature, without a mom who thinks I'm worth the paperwork. So I walked home in the rain. There's this voice in my head lately that keeps asking, was it worth it? Was standing up for myself worth sleeping on an air mattress, flunking a chem test, losing my job, skipping meals, and feeling like a burden everywhere I go? I don't know yet. I want the answer to be yes. I want to say I did the right thing, and that matters more than anything else. But right now, it doesn't feel like it. It just feels cold, and small, and quiet. Edit. A teacher pulled me aside after class today. Mr. Rosen. Geometry. He said, "Hey, I noticed you've seemed tired lately. Everything okay at home?" I panicked. I said, yeah. I told him I was just studying late and stressed about grades. He nodded. Didn't push. But he said, if that changes, let me know. Then he handed me a granola bar and said it was extra from his drawer. I didn't eat it right away. I just held it in my hand all the way to my next class. Update 4. Something weird happened today. I caught myself laughing. Like a real, full laugh. Not that awkward half-chuckle I've been faking to survive conversations. It was in the middle of physics class. Jonah said something dumb about Schrodinger's cat being stoned and confused, and I actually laughed. Not because it was that funny, but because for a second everything didn't feel so heavy. I didn't realize how long it had been since I felt even a little light. A few days ago, my school counselor, Ms. Pena, called me in again. I guess Mr. Rosen said something to her, or maybe she noticed how I've been walking around like a zombie with a backpack. She asked me more direct questions this time. I told her the truth. Not everything, but enough. That I'm not living at home. That my mom revoked my work permit. That I've been couch hopping and skipping meals and trying to stay afloat. She didn't look shocked. She just nodded and said, okay, we're going to help you. Not maybe. Not if we can. Just we're going to. She connected me with this school social worker and a liaison who helps students in unstable housing situations. I guess that's the technical term. It sounds clinical, but I'll take it. They got me a grocery store gift card. Nothing huge, but enough to buy actual food that didn't come in a foil wrapper. And they're helping me file paperwork to get my own work permit reinstated without a parent's signature. I didn't even know that was possible. I almost cried in her office. I didn't, but my voice cracked when I thanked her. She handed me a tissue anyway. Jonah's parents sat me down 2 nights ago after dinner. I thought they were going to ask me to leave. I had my duffel bag half-packed already, just in case. But instead, they said they'd talk to a friend who works for a local youth shelter. They offered to drive me over if I ever needed something more stable than a sleeping bag and a borrowed blanket. Then his mom said, "We're not kicking you out. We just want you to know you have options." That sentence nearly broke me. I nodded and said thank you. And then I went upstairs and sat in the bathroom for 20 minutes pretending to brush my teeth just so I could breathe. I still miss my mom. That's the part I hate admitting the most. Even after everything, after she cut me off, after she threatened to sabotage my job, after she made me feel like I was disposable, I still catch myself wondering if she's okay, if she ever thinks about me, if she feels even the tiniest sliver of regret. But I know better than to wait around for that call. Last I heard, my brother didn't get the job. I don't know if it was because of me or if he blew it some other way. Doesn't matter anymore. He stopped texting, which honestly is a relief. I've been journaling more. Not like fancy writing or anything, just brain dumping in a spiral notebook when I can't sleep. It helps me make sense of everything. One night, I wrote something I keep coming back to. Doing the right thing is lonely, but not doing it felt like killing a part of myself. That's kind of where I'm at now. It still hurts. I'm still tired, but at least I can look in the mirror and not hate the guy staring back. I made a hard choice. A stupid, painful, maybe even self-destructive choice, but it was mine. No one else's. And I think, for the first time in a long time, that means something. Edit. A few people DM'd me asking if I ever thought about calling CPS or filing for emancipation. I have. I even looked up the forms. But honestly, right now I just want to finish school. I've got a 3.7 GPA even with everything going on. I'm aiming for community college first. Something close. Something affordable. I can't think long-term yet, but that's okay. Final update. So yeah, I didn't go home for Thanksgiving, but I did eat dinner at a real table with people who didn't yell or guilt-trip me or ask me to do something illegal in exchange for a slice of pie. Jonah's family invited me to their Thanksgiving, and I said yes. I almost didn't. I almost made up something about not feeling well or having to study just to avoid the whole awkward charity guest feeling. But Jonah looked at me and said, "Dude, my mom already made your name place card." So I went. There was a seat for me. Literally a seat with my name on it. A real plate. A cloth napkin. Candles even. I don't think I've ever had Thanksgiving like that before. I didn't say much at first, but his dad made a dumb joke about burnt stuffing, and his little sister tried to put cranberry sauce on everything, including the rolls. It felt normal, safe. At one point, his mom asked everyone to say one thing they were grateful for. My stomach dropped. I thought about lying, saying something like, my grades or food, but then it got to me, and I just said, I'm thankful for people who didn't have to care but did anyway. She didn't say anything. Just reached over and squeezed my shoulder. I haven't heard from my mom. It's been almost 2 months now. I don't think she's going to call. She moved. Someone I know said she posted pictures of the new house on Facebook. It's like she just erased me. Like I never lived there. I guess in her head I stopped being useful, so I stopped existing. That's a hard thing to sit with. I still have dreams where I'm back there, where everything is fine again and we're making dinner or watching a movie. And then I wake up and I'm staring at a ceiling I don't recognize, listening to someone else's alarm clock. It still hurts. I don't think that kind of hurt just goes away. But something's different now. I got my new work permit. The school helped. It's official. I can get a job again. My old boss said he'd bring me back part-time starting in January when I turn 18. He even told me they saved my name tag. My grades are steady. Not perfect, but solid. I passed that chem test retake. Got a B+. My teacher let me take it during lunch, and I swear I almost hugged him when I saw the grade. I'm applying for community colleges, just the local ones. I'm not trying to escape the state or anything. I just want something that's mine. I still live with Jonah's family for now. We're figuring things out day by day, but they haven't asked me to leave. And I finally unpacked my duffel bag. Small steps. There's this one thing I wrote in my journal a while back that I keep coming back to. I want to be the kind of adult I needed when I was a kid. I think that's my goal now. I want to be that. I want to have kids someday. Not because I think it'll fix something, but because I want to do it right. I want to be the kind of parent who never makes their kid choose between being a good person and being loved. Because no one should have to make that choice. Especially not at 17. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking with me. Really. Writing these posts helped me not spiral. And reading your comments, even the short ones like, you're not crazy or this is abuse, meant more than you probably realize. I don't have a Hollywood ending. My family still sucks. I'm still semi-homeless. I still miss a version of my mom that probably never existed. But I'm still here, still showing up, still trying. And honestly, that feels like enough, for now.